right. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you are having a wonderful day. I think maybe some of you are having the day off today. So if you are having the day off today, I hope you're enjoying your day. We are going to be doing some nails. Today, we're actually dedicating them to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're going to be doing a really cute design with some pink acrylic and just a really fun, actually a fairly easy design. So if you're new to doing nails, you're going to be able to create this look and actually create it with a lot of different colors. But today we're going to be working with some pink colors, like I said, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let me just finish getting my nails prepped and we'll go ahead and get started. Make sure to always check us out on Discord. If you guys haven't joined us on our Discord server yet, I always post up a little announcement on there so that you guys always know what we're going to be working on. So you kind of have a little heads up if you want to gather your products. I also post the products that we're going to be using on there so you always know what we're going to be doing. So let me just go ahead and shorten up our nails quick, and then I do need to pull my chat up so that I can see what you guys have to say, so that I can answer any questions you may have. You guys, if I don't get to your questions, we've got a great team of moderators here that they help me out answering questions and giving you guys information that you need. So make sure if you have questions, you are welcome to pop those in the chat, and either myself or our moderators will hopefully be able to get to those questions for you. All right, looks like we've got lots of familiar names in the chat there, so you guys welcome in. Glad to have you back again today. If you are new to our channel, if you're just joining us, we usually do go live usually about 3 days a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays here on YouTube. But we have over 3,000 different videos for you in our YouTube library. So make sure to check those out. We have so much free education for you. If you have any questions about doing nails, about really any technique having to do with nails, we probably have a video for you. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to subscribe to our channel as well. All right, so we've got our nails shortened up and ready to go. And like I said, we're going to be sculpting out some acrylic today. And even on natural nails, I do like to shorten up those nails a little bit, about to where they're at here when I'm working on sculpting. So it's just a little bit easier to get the forms on, I feel, and instead of having all of that extra natural nail hanging out there. So let's go ahead and get started with our prep. And our prep, you guys, we've got 4 nails that I'm going to show you here today. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we're going to do our prep, and your prep really should be a quick and easy process. It shouldn't take you really more than 3 to 5 minutes to do your full prep. And what I start with is, just like I showed you, pushing back those cuticles, clean up that cuticle area, get any of that cuticle pushed back, loosened up off of the nail. And then I'm going to use my Mandrel and my medium sanding band. So I'm going to change this out. This was a used sanding band that I actually have some nails that, there's our quick little preview. But I was using my sanding band earlier today. So I am going to change that out. So we're going to grab a brand new one, clean, sanitary, ready to go. And you guys, that mandrel that I am putting it on, this is also sanitizable and disinfectable. So you do want to be sanitizing and disinfecting that in between your clients, as well as putting on a brand new sanding band. So make sure that you are doing that. We're going to turn our E-file to about 5,000 RPMs. And let me readjust here just a hair so you guys can see a little bit better. So I'm actually going to go through all 4 of these nails, and we're going to prep right up around that cuticle area. Just short little strokes up around that cuticle, and then I'm going to feather my bit all the way through that nail. That's all that you need to do for your prep, for removing the shine from that nail. There we go. And a lot of times I think people spend too much time on their prep. They go over and over and over that nail more than they need to. And that's where, first of all, you could cause a little bit of damage if you are filing too much or too many times over that nail. but it's also wasting time. And like I said, you guys, this is all you need to do. All we're trying to do is just create a tiny little bit of texture on that nail, and then also clean up that cuticle area, make sure that there's no cuticle stuck onto the nail. And also we're going to be breaking up those surface oils in the nail and removing that shine. So that's, again, all that we need to do for our prep. Now, again, this is where a lot of times I think people spend extra time and they think, well, that was too quick, so maybe I need to go over it again, or maybe I need to do this nail again, or this nail, or I have to do this again. You guys, stop wasting time. Okay, you don't have to go over it more than one time to remove that shine. All right. Olivia says, I love your nails and I'm new. First of all, welcome to our channel. Anybody that is new to our channel, you guys, welcome to our community. You guys, if you've been here, I always say welcome to you, but thank you all for being here. If you are wanting to see how my nails were done, we actually do have a video here on our YouTube channel showing exactly how I did those dimensional designs. I actually did them on the trainer hand, but you can see exactly how I did that. So check that out here on our channel. Now, the next step we're going to do in our prep is cleansing the nail, and we're going to use Swipe. I'm going to pump a little bit of that up onto my manicure brush, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to scrub those nails really nice and clean. This is going to help to remove any of those last little bits of dust that may be still on the nail, and it's also going to help to cleanse off any excess oils or any bacteria or germs or little things that we may not want on the nail. So we always want to make sure to go through, cleanse those nails really well with the Swipe. And then the last step of our prep is going to be our protein bond. Now, protein bond is a bonder. It's not a primer. I know a lot of other products use a primer, but this one is a non-acid bonder. And what I mean by that is basically it works like a double-sided tape. Let me come in a little closer so you can see. There we go. So it works like a double-sided tape. So it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but you can see exactly where I have that protein bond. It's going to stay sticky looking, okay? It's going to leave that sticky surface to grab onto whatever product we adhere over this. And today we're going to be working with acrylic. And so for acrylic, we're actually going to do 2 coats of our protein bond. I always like to do 2 coats when I'm working with acrylic or hard gel, just to make sure that I've got great coverage and I've got a really nice sticky surface. Now, another thing I want you guys to notice that as I'm brushing this onto the nail, I don't just start right up at my cuticle area, and I don't just start right up here, because the reason for that is that it's going to flood. So if I take my brush right out of the bottle here, let me show you guys this one here. If I take my brush right out of the bottle and I put that right at my cuticle area, this brush has a lot of product in there, and chances are it's going to kind of run down the sides, or it's going to run back up into that cuticle area. So that's why I start in the center, I work out to the sides. That way it's not going to flood into that cuticle, it's not going to flood into the sidewalls, and it's not going to come in contact with the skin. Now, we do want a nice sticky surface to this, but we don't want that product touching the skin. This is it's a very safe product to use, like I said, non-acid, but with any product you use, you still want to make sure that you're keeping product off the skin. So that way you're not going to have to worry about allergic reactions or contact dermatitis or things like that. So those kind of things generally are a result of over application of product or applying product and the product gets on the skin. So you want to make extra sure that you are just keeping that product on the nail and it's not flooding into that cuticle area or down along those sidewalls. Okay, so we do have 2 coats of our protein bond on there. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a form on. Now you guys, today we're going to be sculpting, so we're not going to actually apply a tip. So we're going to put our forms on. And on our trainer hand, I tend to do 1 nail at a time. When you're working on a full hand, like an actual real live person, I would go through and put your forms on all of the nails, and that way it's going to save you a little bit of time. But for today, I'm just going to do 1 at a time just because it's easier and it's just going to be easier. So we're going to take that little tab out of the center, put that on the back of our form. I'm going to pinch my form together at the end. We're going to pinch these 2 little silver tabs together. nice and even together as we can get them. And we're going to be doing a little bit more of an almond shaped nail. So more of an active length, I'm going to say. So for an almond shape, I like to pinch that form down to a point. That's going to help to create a little bit more of that almond shaped nail. Okay. Then I'm also going to open up that top area. There's a little perforation right up top. And to put our form on, we're going to start with our form. Let me make sure you guys can see this. We're going to start with our form at just a slight downward angle. I'm just kind of pressing that to make sure that it's going to fit right up underneath my nail. So we're going to start with that form at a slight downward angle. We're going to catch that free edge, and then I'm going to lift up on the end of that form until it rocks that form right up underneath that nail, and it's going to be flush up under that nail. Okay. Then we're going to secure that on the sides. Now I do want to check and make sure, now you guys, you can see I was a little bit crooked on there because I wasn't looking straight at my finger. So I want to make sure that I'm coming right up underneath that nail, catch that free edge, lift up at the end, bring that flush up underneath the nail, and then we'll secure on the sides. Now we're going to pinch this just a little bit shorter because we are going to be creating a little bit of a shorter, more of an active length almond nail. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys today a couple of different techniques, well, a lot of different techniques, but we're going to start with a solid color nail, okay? And the product that I'm going to be using today is our Cover Pink acrylic. So this is our Cover Pink powder, and I'm going to grab my Dappen dish, and I have a little bit of monomer left in there from my last application. Now, I actually want to soak that up and always start with fresh monomer. I don't want to try to reuse my liquid from my last application because this way I'm going to start out with nice clean monomer. I'm going to be able to pick up really good pearls every time. And if you try to add clean monomer to used monomer, you tend to get a little bit more of a cloudy or kind of a thicker consistency, and we don't want that. So we're going to take our liquid. I'm going to grab my brush. I'm actually going to take my brush. I'm going to touch my brush to the top of the bottle, and I'm going to pour my liquid straight down the bottle into my Dappen dish. By using my brush is going to help to kind of keep that product from spilling down the side of the bottle and dribbling down the edge and causing chaos. Okay, so it's nice and clean down around the edge. I didn't spill anything, didn't dribble down the edge or anything like that. All right, Shawnee Starfire is asking, are we going to use any glitter today? Yes, you guys, we're going to be working a little bit later. We're going to be working with one of our slick pour glitter acrylics. So you got to stick with me on that. But I'm going to start with some basic techniques first, and then we'll move into the a little bit more advanced, and we're going to be doing a little bit of an ombre today. So stick with us. Now, we're going to start, like I said, with our Cover Pink acrylic. Let me come in a little closer for you guys here. Make sure you can see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. So we're going to start by picking up our pearl. So I'm going to just dab my brush down into my Dappen dish, and that's going to release any air bubbles from my brush. So those air bubbles don't end up in my acrylic. I'm going to dab off the back side of my brush. Now I'm going to turn my brush over. I'm going to use the front side of my brush. I'm going to do kind of a press and pull motion. So I'm going to press and pull, then I'm going to bounce, bounce, bounce. Now, when we set our first pearl down, we want really good control of it, okay? So I'm going to show you something really quick here, you guys. I always like to show this technique because when we're working on our forms and we're building out our free edge, I want to make sure that I've got really good control of this product. So I'm actually going to bring that product more to a clay form. If I were to just set that down onto my form, it's going to run really fast. That product is going to move, it's going to flow, and I'm going to probably have to kind of chase it. And do you see how I had that little bit of product sticking to my brush? My product is too wet and it's out of control. It's going to gunk up my brush if I don't keep an eye on my brush. So what I want to do is, instead of having my product at this kind of a wet form, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap down my powder again so I've got a nice clean space to pick up. Same thing, I'm going to tap out my brush on the back side, turn my brush over, I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Now I'm going to take that pearl, I'm going to make sure that powder's absorbed, but now I'm going to drain that pearl onto my table towel. And I'm going to drain out that extra liquid until it looks more of a matte finish. I'm going to show you guys that one more time. I want you to see the difference between that fresh, shiny pearl. Okay, so if you take a look, you're going to see that fresh, shiny pearl looks nice, and it's starting to look nice and smooth, but you see how shiny that is? That's going to be a little bit more of that wetter consistency. So if we take that same pearl, pick that up, press, bounce, 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 make sure my powder has absorbed, drain out the liquid for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to be able to see it's a little bit more of a matte finish. And now when I press that onto my form, if I set that down, guys, I think I may have waited a little too long on that, but you can see how this one, it just softens a little bit. And now I can use my brush to move that product and mold that and manipulate it. It's not going to be running out of control. I have complete control of where my product is going to go to. If I want to pull that down the form, I can. If I want to tuck in on the sides, I can. It's not going to run and move, okay? So that's what we're going to try to do with our free edge pearl. So let's go ahead and pick that one up. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so again, we're going to press our brush into the Dappen dish, release that liquid. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to make sure that powder is absorbed. I'm going to drain that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to set that onto my form. Good pressure. I'm going to wipe out my brush. Now I'm going to use my brush to press that product out to make sure it's nice and even all the way through the surface. I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck in on the sides, and then I'm going to walk that product up into the corner. Tuck in on the side, walk up into the corner. Now you guys, when I say walk up into the corner, I don't mean push. Okay, do you see the difference? What I meant was walk by taking step, step, step. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this one again because I wanted you to understand that when we're bringing that product up here, we're not just setting our brush onto it and pushing. That's going to smush everything. Okay, what you want to be doing is more of a press, 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 and that's going to move the bulk of the product up into that corner. Okay, let me take this one off. I'm going to show you again because I think that's something that a lot of beginners do, is they try to just squish that product right up into that corner. And we don't want to do that. We want to actually have a purpose to where our product is going. So let's get our form back on here one more time. Put that little tab on the back. We're going to pinch our form together, pinch that end, open up that top perforation. We're going to get our form right up underneath that nail, lift up on the end to make sure that it's coming nice and straight out from the nail. And then I'm going to pinch that just a little bit shorter. And somebody's asking in the chat, what brush are you using? The brush that I am using, this is Greg's Signature Series brush. It's a size 12. And everything that I'm using here today is Young Nails. So you can find all of this at our website, youngnails.com. So check that out. I think maybe our moderators might have that pinned in the chat for you just in case as well. Okay, so one more time, let's press out the back side of our brush. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. Make sure that that powder has absorbed. Drain out the liquid. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to set that down onto my form. I'm going to wipe out my brush, clean out my brush, use the body of my brush to press that product so that it's nice and even all the way from side to side. And then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck in on the side, step, step, step into the corner, tuck in on the side, step, 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 all the way into that corner. Then I'm going to come back across the nail, pressing to make sure everything is nice and even thickness. Tuck in on the side, press up into the corner, even on the side. Now I'm going to press all the way across, making sure everything is nice and even, tucking in on the sides. And then I'm just going to start to bring this down a little bit more to an almond shape. Tucking in on the sides, tucking in on the sides, walking across, step, 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 tucking in on the sides. And the reason that I do that walk across the surface of the nail is to make sure that everything is nice and even in the thickness all the way across. Okay, I'm just going to rinse out my brush here. There was a little bit of product that was stuck to my brush If you feel like your product is sticking to your brush, make sure you do clean that out right away. You don't want that product to dry in your brush. And I can actually see, you guys, I don't know if you can see that. Right there, there's a tiny little bit of product. I do want to make sure that I get that cleaned out so that way it's not going to gunk up my brush, okay? So now we've got our free edge kind of coming into shape here. If I feel like I need to, I can tuck that in a little bit more. I can turn my brush on the side to clean up that shape. But you guys, this part right here is always the last part that I worry about. I always want to make sure that I'm tucking in my sides, getting my sides nice and straight, and make sure that everything is even thickness all the way across. I can come in and I can reshape this with my file at the end, okay? Somebody's asking, what type of liquid are you using? You guys, what I'm using here is acrylic liquid and powder. So acrylic monomer, so it's acrylic monomer and acrylic powder. You don't want to try to use anything other than acrylic monomer and powder to build the nails like this. You don't use alcohol, you don't use acetone, it's not water, you guys. It's definitely not alcohol or acetone or anything like that. It is acrylic liquid, and that is what is going to combine with the acrylic powder to create this product, okay? So you have to make sure that you're not trying to substitute anything else. It's not something that you're going to mix and match, okay? All right, so with our second pearl, now with our first pearl, we drained out the extra liquid because we did not want this pearl to flow. With our second pearl, we're actually going to start this right at our cuticle area. This one we do want to flow, okay? We want it to start here and we want it to flow down the length of the nail. So to get that to happen, this pearl, I'm not going to drain out the liquid like I did on the first one. With this one, I'm going to pick up that pearl. We're going to set it at our cuticle area. Do you see how I've got that nail angled downward? Okay, that's the direction I want my product to flow. I want it to flow down the length of the nail. If I were to hold that nail just flat like this, the product is going to go with gravity and it's going to flow down the sides of that nail. Okay, we don't want that product to flow down the sides. We want it to flow down the length. So let me go ahead and show you. So again, we're going to press our brush into the dish. We're going to tap out the back, press, bounce, bounce, bounce. Now this one, we're going to take a look at that one. I want you guys to see the texture of this. Do you see how it went from almost an orange peel look to now it's a nice smooth pearl? That's what we're actually going to be waiting for, okay? Let me show you that one more time. And I'm going to count probably to a count of 4 to 5, depending on your room temperature. So again, we're going to press, bounce, bounce, bounce. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it looks a little bit more pearl-like, and that's going to be the proper consistency to add to the nail, okay? So one more time, let me pick up our pearl. I'm going to press that down in, tap out the back side. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to set that down onto the nail. I'm going to give it some pressure, lift up my brush. I'm going to use the point of my brush to press out the cuticle area and down the sides. Now notice that my product is going to start to flow down the length of the nail. I'm going to clean out my brush. I'm going to pivot my brush on the side and I'm going to blend out that side. Wipe out my brush, same thing. Pivot my brush on the side, blend the side. And then I'm just going to blend the edge of that pearl, okay? Just blending that edge. And what this is going to do, by pivoting my brush on the side, let me show you guys from this view here, okay? From here, I pivot my brush on the side, so this way I can brush out and blend out that edge. It's going to taper that edge and make it nice and contoured on the sides, so my nail isn't going to be bulky on the sides, okay? Then I blend out just the edge of that pearl. And what that's going to do, that's going to leave, we had a nice thin and tapered cuticle area, but it's going to leave a little bit of thickness right here at our stress area. And that's exactly what we want. We want to make sure that we have a little bit of thickness at our stress area so that we are going to have nice and strong nails. It's not going to crack or break down in there, okay? Now, we do have, you can see, there is a little bit of a low spot right down through here. So we're going to pick up another pearl. So again, we're going to press out that back side. of our brush. Actually, guys, I'm going to tap down my powder. I always like to have a nice clean space to pick up my pearl here. So we're going to press out the back side. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of a smaller pearl this time. So not as large as we were picking up before. Now this one, we don't want this one to flow as much as that one did by our cuticle area, but we also don't want it as clay-like as our free edge. So now what we're going to do, we're going to press, press and pull, bounce, bounce. This one I'm just going to tap. So just give it a quick tap, drain out a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around. I'm going to set that pearl down and I'm going to blend back. Pivot my brush on the side, blend back, pivot my brush on the other side, blend back, clean out my brush. Now I'm going to blend that forward. And that's going to fill in that little low spot and it's going to create a nice tapered nail down to the end. Now, as I'm blending out, you can kind of see that I'm wiping my brush in between. If I feel like my brush may have picked up any of that product, that's when I wipe out my brush, okay? Now, if I feel like I need a little bit more product up in my stress area, I can blend backwards. So that's going to taper in that free edge a little bit more and bring more product to my stress area. If I need more product down at my free edge, I'm going to blend forward and pull that product down towards the free edge, okay? Okay, so that was our first nail. Now I'm going to show you guys that same technique all over again because sometimes it takes a couple of times before things start to really click. So I want to make sure that you guys have these techniques down before we actually move on to our ombre. And we are going to be doing a 2-color ombre today. And we're still going to be using some of the same techniques that I'm showing you here, but I do want to make sure that you get these techniques first so that you can use them in a more advanced technique. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take one of my table towels here. You guys, I cut my table towels into smaller pieces so that way I can just take off that top one and give that to the trash can. And that way I always have a nice clean place to wipe my brush on, okay? So same thing, we're gonna tap down our powder. We're gonna grab that liquid. You guys, let me bring this back up here so you can see. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to tap my back side of my brush. I'm gonna press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one, we're gonna make sure the powder's absorbed. I'm gonna drain out 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to set that right in front of our natural nail. I'm going to put some pressure on there, clean out my brush. I'm going to press that product so it's nice and even from side to side. I'm going to tuck in with the edge of my brush and walk that product up into the corner. Tuck in, walk that up into the corner. Tuck in. Now I'm going to walk all the way back across the nail. Clean out my brush. I had a little bit of product in there. Tuck in on the sides. Walk up into the corner, tuck in on the sides. Now I'm going to walk all the way back across, press, 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 press. That way my product is going to stay nice and even thickness all the way through the extension. Okay, pressing across the nail, tucking in on the sides, press in to create a little bit more of that almond shape. Tuck in on the sides, make sure it's even across, and we're good to go. Clean out my brush. I'm going to dab into my liquid again, tap the back side of my brush. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until that pearl looks a little bit more pearl-like. I'm going to set that down at the cuticle area, angling the finger downward. I'm going to press that pearl all the way around the cuticle area, down those sides, tucking in on the sides. Clean out my brush. I'm going to pivot my brush on the side, blend out that edge, wipe out my brush, pivot my brush on the other side, blend out that edge, and then blend the edge of our pearl. Now you guys, blending the edge of the pearl is going to create the structure that we want, but also when we get to our ombre, we want to make sure that we're only blending out that edge so that we're not going to be covering up the color that we've got on the free edge. And I'm going to show you guys that technique in a little bit, so you got to stick with us here so that you can see that ombre technique, okay? But it's the same techniques that I'm teaching you here. It's just going to be with different colors, okay? So now again, we've got that little bit of a low spot right through here. We'll pick up another pearl, And somebody says that the nails are very thick. And yes, you guys, there is some thickness to these nails, but they will be filed, so don't worry about that. We are going to file and finish them. So this one, we're going to pick up our pearl, just dab out a little bit of that extra liquid. We're not going to completely drain that. I'm going to set that down, blend back, pivot my brush on the sides, blend back, pivot my brush on the side, wipe out my brush. Again, press out that product down to the free edge, pressing that all the way down. And this one I am going to blend back up to my stress area to make sure that I've got the proper thickness right in that stress area. Okay, blend out just a little bit. All right, so now you guys, you have that technique down, okay? Let's change this up a little bit. Let's get to a little bit more of an advanced technique, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put my form on again. So on this next nail, I'm gonna show you how to ombre two colors together. So we're gonna put that little tab on the back, pinch our form together, pinch the end of our form. I'm gonna open up that top perforation. We're gonna get our form right up underneath our free edge, tuck that in there, lift up on the end, make sure that is nice and secure. And same thing, we're gonna pinch this one just a little bit shorter because we're gonna be creating just a little bit more of an active length, okay? All right, now the next product that we're gonna be using is one of our slick pour powders. This is part of our dip system, but it is an actual colored acrylic. So this one is called Bikini Blitz, and this is a really pretty pink glitter acrylic, okay? Now, when you're working with glitter acrylics or colored acrylics, a lot of times I will take my cuticle pusher. You guys make sure it's a clean one, disinfected cuticle pusher, not the one that you used on your client. But go through and mix that up because sometimes those glitters, the chunkier glitters can raise to the top of the powder. And I always want to make sure that my product is mixed up well so that I'm picking up enough acrylic and enough glitter at the same time, okay? Now, you guys, we're going to be doing the same techniques that I just showed you on the first two nails with a couple of little minor exceptions. Now, I'm going to be putting a little bit of that glitter acrylic on the natural nail. So before I do that, I'm going to pick up just a very small pearl of my Cover Pink. And I'm going to show you what we'll do. So we're going to press out a little bit of that extra liquid. I'm going to pick up a small pearl. I'm going to set that onto the nail. Now we're just going to create a very, very thin layer of this Cover Pink on that nail. And what this is going to do, this is going to protect that natural nail when we change out our design. So when I'm changing out my design, I'm actually going to file my glitter down to this layer of pink, okay? So this way, we're never going to be filing down to that natural nail when we change out our designs. Okay, now at this point, now is where we get to have fun with the color. So we're going to do just like we did before. I'm going to press out the back side of my brush. I'm going to press my brush and pull, bounce, bounce. This one, just like we did before, we're going to drain out that liquid. This one I may not drain out quite as much of the liquid because when you're working with that glitter acrylic, it is going to have just a slightly different texture. Because it's got more glitter in there, it may feel a little bit more, I don't want to say grainy, but a little bit more textured. Okay, but you guys, same technique. Press out from side to side. Use the edge of your brush to tuck in on those corners. Walk that up into the corner. Tuck in, walk all the way back across, bringing that product down to our point, bringing that product down to the point, tuck in on that free edge, tuck in on the free edge to create that really pretty almond shape. Okay, now again, you guys, we're going to be doing an ombre look to this. So if you were wanting to maybe do a solid glitter nail, you could go through and you could apply another coat or another pearl of that glitter right by the cuticle, blend that forward, and do a similar technique as we did before. But because we're going to be doing an ombre, I'm going to pick up one more small pearl. Again, tap out the back side of my brush. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. Pick up just a tiny little pearl. I'm going to set that right at that connection. So right where my natural nail connects to the free edge. Press that out. I'm going to blend that forward. Clean out my brush. Now I'm just going to use the point of my brush to just gently blend out that edge. We just don't want a solid edge of glitter. We want that to just kind of fade out. So just gently fading that out. And then we're going to go back to our cover pink. Okay, so same thing we were doing before. We're going to press our brush into the liquid, tap out the back side. I'm going to press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. We're going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to set that right at my cuticle area, press out my cuticle area, allow that product to flow down the length of the nail. Okay, tuck in on those sides, tuck in on the sides, clean out my brush. I'm going to pivot my brush, blend out that side, pivot my brush on the other side, blend out the side, and then we're going to just gently blend out just the edge of that pearl. And that's how we're going to get that ombre. Just blending out that edge of it. I don't want to be pulling all of my product back from that cuticle area because that's going to, first of all, it's going to take away the structure of our nail, but second of all, it's going to cover up all of our glitter, and we just want to blend out just that edge. Okay, so just that edge. Now, at this point, we still have that low spot just like we did before on our first nails, but on this one, instead of filling in with my cover pink, if I filled in with the cover pink, that would cover up all of my glitter. I still need to build up the structure, but now what I'm going to use is our Speed Clear. So the Speed Clear is a clear powder, so it's going to seal our ombre design in, but it's not going to cover up our powder or our colors. Okay, same thing, tap out the back side. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. This one, again, I'm just going to tap to drain out a little bit of that liquid, turn my brush around, set that down, blend back, pivot on my sides, blend back, wipe out my brush. I'm going to blend that all the way down to the point. Okay, pressing that out so it's nice and even all the way through and blending that out. Okay, tucking in on the sides, tucking in on the sides. Again, if we need to blend that up to our stress area, we can blend up to our stress area or blend forward to thin and taper that free edge. Okay. All right, you guys, I'll show you one more nail here. We're going to do the same thing as our ombre. Again, we're going to take that form, put that little tab on the back, pinch our 2 tabs together, open up that top perforation. Just going to press that down. And again, you guys, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, join our community, continue to get this free education, and learn some fun things about doing nails. All right, same thing, pinching that form a little bit shorter. Okay, so this one, you guys, I'm going to go right straight through, no stopping, just so you can see exactly how I would do this kind of in real time. Okay, so again, we're going to pick up our pearl of our pink, set that down right in front of our nail. Again, I'm going to press that out from side to side, tuck up into our corners here, blend that down the length of the form, clean out my brush if I need to. If I feel like my product is ever sticking to my brush, that's when I want to make sure I clean out my brush, because we don't want product sticking to the brush. If it does stick to the brush, it's probably going to dry in your brush, and then your brush is going to start to get clogged. Okay, so you want to make sure, if you need to, if anything is sticking to your brush, wipe out your brush, clean that out, and then you can continue on. We're going to pick up that second pearl here, blend that right into our first, blend that back, blend that back. Again, just kind of blending and fading out that product all the way back. Okay, just going to kind of press that out a little bit more. Clean out my brush. I'm actually going to take that table towel off, get a clean, fresh one. Oh, Courtney, you're right. I did forget to put the base on there. Ah, good call on that, Courtney. I did forget. You guys, on our first nail, I made sure to apply a thin coat of our clear, not our clear, our cover pink. Let me go ahead and do that again for you, because I want to make sure that you guys do actually do that. So good call, Courtney. Thank you. I love it. I love that you guys are learning, though. That makes me so happy. That makes me know that you know exactly what you need to be doing. So awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, let me do that one more time, that form application. So you guys, I got so excited to get that glitter on there and get that color on there. I did forget that, so good call on that. All right, let's get our form back up underneath there. Tuck that under there, and we're gonna pinch that a little bit tighter. Okay, good call, Courtney. Let's go back to our cover pink. Tap out the back side. We're gonna pick up just a small pearl, a nice wet pearl. I'm gonna set that right down at my cuticle area, press that out, and then just blending that out towards the free edge, just to get that little bit of a thin protective layer so that when we do file off our glitters, we're not going to file down to the natural nail. Okay. Yes, you guys, absolutely. Somebody says I was going to say something, but I didn't know. Absolutely, you guys, ask the questions, get the information. I want to make sure that you guys are getting the proper information. Okay. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask those questions. Absolutely. All right, same thing. We're going to set our pearl down right at that free edge, wipe out my brush, tuck up into my corners, tuck in, walk that up to the side. Again, I'm going to walk that all the way back across, tuck in on the corners, walk that up to the side, tuck in. Now I'm just going to start to pull that product down the length of the nail that I want to create, tucking in on those corners, creating a little bit more of that almond shape. All right, now because we've got that little bit of clear or that pink on the natural nail, now we can put our glitter up onto the natural nail and still have that protective layer. So we're going to tap that across, tap that across. Again, I'm going to blend out the back edge, just kind of blending through, pulling that product so it just fades right out. Okay, all right. Same thing, we're going to grab that cover pink again. Press and pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. This one, we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to set that onto the nail, press out the cuticle area, press out the cuticle area, get that nice and thin and tapered, allowing that product to flow down the length of the nail. I'm going to wipe out my brush, pivot my brush on the side, blend out those edges, pivot my brush on the side, and then I'm going to start to pull that product forward. Just gently blending right through, just in front of the stress area. So just in front of that stress area. So just enough to ombre that design in. All right, and then we're going to go back to, actually you guys, I think I want just a tiny little bit more of that pink. So I'm going to pick up just a tiny little pearl. I'm going to drain that out. I'm going to turn my brush around and I'm going to blend that back. I just wanted a little bit more of that pink coverage and just going to blend that right down in. So it's okay if you need to add another pearl. Blend in where you need to blend in, and that is totally fine. Okay. All right, now we're going to pick up a bead of that Speed Clear. We're going to press and pull, bounce, bounce. This one I'm going to drain out just a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around, press that down, pull back, pivot my brush on the sides, pull back. I'm going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to press that down to the free edge. Now, you guys are probably seeing that one little rogue glitter that probably got stuck in my brush when I wiped my brush on the table towel. I'm not even going to worry about that. That is right on the surface, and that would actually file out. So don't panic about that. Not a big deal. It's going to file right off. Okay, so you guys, we've got our nails on here. We've got those all built out. I'm not going to make you sit here and wait until these dry, because by the magic of the internet, I have nails that I've already created, and we're going to just swap those out today. So you guys don't have to sit here and watch acrylic dry. I'm just going to close up my liquid and powder. We'll set this off to the side, and then I'm going to show you guys how I would finish these nails. Now I'm going to give you a few options here. So let me set these off to the side. We will swap these out just really quickly. And when I do take the nails out of the trainer hand, if you are working with our trainer hand, I always try to either slide that, that rubber piece off or slide the nails out. Don't just lift straight up on them, because if you lift straight up on them, it's actually going to strip out the mechanism in there that holds them on, and it's not going to hold them on very well anymore. So always make sure that you just either slide that whole plastic end off or just gently slide those nails off the end. But let's go ahead and put in our nails that we've already filed out. I'm going to put those on here. And I'm going to finish these with, on a couple of these, I'm going to finish with a gel polish. And then on our pink ones, we can either top coat or we can add in an extra little charm. You guys, you let me know. Do you want to see an extra charm or do you want me to just top coat them? Let me know in the chat. I want to know what you guys want to see today. But at this point, our nails have been filed out. I filed them out with our 150 grit hand file after I used our electric file. So you can use combination of both of those. So we're just going to dust these off. Somebody's asking, did I do my nails on a live video? I did not do my nails on a live video, but I did this design on the trainer hand on a live video. So you can definitely check that out. Somebody's also saying, I would have loved to see the shaping process. Again, you guys, here on our channel, on our YouTube channel, we have over 3,000 different videos on how to do nails. So we've got a ton of videos on filing and shaping. So make sure to check those out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and get all of that free education. Okay? All right, so after filing, we're going to go through with our swipe. We're going to cleanse the nails one more time. So I'm seeing a lot of you are saying you want to see the charm on there. Okay. And Sophia's asking, do you ever do your nails on the live video? You guys, I have. We do have some videos of me doing my own nails here as well. So yes, you can definitely check those out on our channel as well. And you guys, I'm starting to look like I might need a fill in maybe a week or so here. So you never know. You never know. All right, so we've got our nails cleansed. Now, depending on how you're going to finish them, if you're going to put any kind of gel over the top, you do want to do one more coat of the protein bond. So this one is going to also help our top coat stay on. It's going to help any gel polish stay on. So again, make sure to apply one coat of your protein bond all the way from cuticle to free edge. And again, giving it a nice tacky surface for our gel. Now on our two solid colored nails here, so the two nails in the center, you could just do a top coat and that would be a great finish to these. But actually, I'm going to show you guys. So a lot of you are saying you want to do the charms. So we'll do charms on another nail here. But I do want to show you a couple of options for colors, because a lot of you ask me, what color would you use with the rest of this set? So with this one, I have two different choices, and I'll show you both of them. But we've got a sheer pink, we've got sheer pink 101, and we've got magenta 101. So if you are somebody who wants a little bit more of a neutral kind of a color, sheer pink 101 is going to be a great choice for you. It's not going to be a ton of color, so it's really going to just enhance the color of our cover pink. So that one is going to be just a really pretty nude. And again, you guys, like I said, it's not a ton of color. It's just going to enhance that cover pink. So that's one option. The other option, if you're feeling a little bit more bold, you can use magenta 101. Or you can use whatever color of your choice, you guys. You can definitely make your designs your own. But I just wanted to show you a couple of different options here. So this one is a really pretty bright magenta. Making sure I cap my free edge, and then I'm going to brush that all the way back towards that cuticle. Let me make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. There we go. So tucking that right up to my cuticle, come all the way down my sides, making sure again to cap those edges. And I do leave just a tiny little bit of space around that cuticle area and down along those sidewalls so that my product never touches the cuticle or never touches the skin, okay? All right, these are going to go into our light. I'm just going to freeze those into place for 30 seconds. Now, when you're working with the manicure color, these are our gel polishes. They are a 3-step gel polish. And Notice that we didn't use a base coat on our enhancements. You don't need to do a base coat, but you will need to do a top coat over these. And usually I do 2 coats of the color. A lot of times with my sheer pink though, I just tend to do 1 coat, so you can do that. Somebody's asking, can you show us how to use the matte? Absolutely. Are you talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about the matte finish? I would love to show you our matte finish. So again, you could do a second coat of your sheer pink, or you can leave it with just 1 coat. For today, I think I'm just going to leave it with 1 coat. But on my magenta, this one I will do a second coat just to make sure I've got really good even coverage over the whole thing. Okay, so again, brushing up to our cuticle area, down along those edges, all the way through. And we'll give that one more quick cure. Again, we're freezing these for 30 seconds. Now, you guys, these polishes do need a full 60-second cure, but we're freezing them for 30 seconds in between each layer, and they will continue to cure as you put the hands into the light, all right? So don't worry about that. Now, you guys wanted to see a charm. So again, in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm not going to polish on a ribbon, but I am going to grab from our Whimsical nail charm kit. I've got some really cute pink ribbons that I'm going to use today. So we're going to we'll just grab one of those. I'm just going to do one of those for you guys today. So this way you can see all of your options, okay? So I've got my charm, and I also have a tweezer. I always like to have a tweezer when I'm working with the charms to apply those. Okay, so we are going to apply, let's put our charm on, let's come in nice and close, there you go. We're going to apply our charm onto this nail here. So what I'm going to use is our Tip and Jewel Adhesive Gel. So this is a gel, and this one has a pretty thick consistency to it. So we're going to open that up, and I am going to grab a spatula, and I'm going to be using our dual-ended brush and spatula. So this has a spatula on one end, and then it's got a brush on the other end, so whichever one works for you. I'm going to use that spatula end. So I'm going to take a little scoop, just a tiny little scoop of that gel, and you guys, you can see it's definitely thick, okay? And I'm going to just set that right onto our nail, right where I want my charm. I'm going to grab my tweezer here. I'm going to pick up that charm and set that right down on there. Now you guys, the great thing about the Tip and Jewel adhesive is because of its thickness, it's not going to, that you can see that charm is not going to slide. It's not going to run down the nail. If I angle that this way, down, straight down, it's not going to run down the nail. So wherever I put that charm, it is going to hold it right where I want it. Now, I may use my spatula or the brush. You can see there's a little bit of that adhesive right in the center. I'm just going to kind of pull that, blend that out so that I don't have that thick edge of it. And I think we're good there. I'm actually going to take our Touch Cure Light. Let me grab this here. And our Touch Cure Light, let me show you. Oops, back out a little bit. Our Touch Cure Light is a little pen light. So this one I'm going to just turn on at the end. I'm going to use this. Oops, I think I bumped that. There we go. I'm going to use this to set my charm into place. Now you guys, I'm not going to use this to completely cure, but I am just going to use it to set it into place and really just kind of solidify that gel that's holding it on, just so I can go on to my next step, okay? All right, so maybe 20 seconds or so on there. At this point, my charm is on there. It's not moving, but it's not fully cured. So we are going to finish the rest of this set and top coat. So you guys, somebody wanted to see the matte finish top coat. So I will show you our matte finish top coat, and I am also going to show you our shiny top coat so that you guys can decide what techniques you want to use and what things you want to use for your sets. Now, before we actually top coat the rest of these nails, I'm going to top coat this first one using our Ultimate Finish. And I want to make sure that I do have a little bit of, maybe I think I'm actually, yes, I'm going to do this. Hang on a second, guys. I'm going to take a little bit more of that adhesive. So if you take a look around the edges, you can see there's a little bit of a gap between that charm and the nail. So I don't want that charm getting stuck in my client's hair and things like that. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that tip and jewel adhesive, just a tiny little bit, and I'm going to tuck that up underneath, just kind of scraping that around the edge of my charm. Now, if you don't mind that little gap underneath there, that's okay. You can just leave it. You can kind of skip this step if you need to or if you want to. But I like to kind of seal that up a little bit so that there isn't that gap underneath there and I'm not going to catch my hair. So just a personal preference. You can do whatever works for you. If you want to tuck up a little bit of that gel underneath there, you can definitely do that. Okay, now same thing, I am going to use that Touch Cure Light, freeze that gel into place all the way around, and then we'll go ahead and top coat. Okay, so again, just freezing that gel all the way around, just for a few seconds. Now, one other thing that I'm going to grab when I top coat with my charms, I'm going to take a little art palette. I'm going to take a little bit of my top coat. I'm going to put that onto my art palette. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that in just a second here. But I'm going to take my Ultimate Finish top coat. And you guys, I almost forgot, it is about that time. So if you know what to do, go ahead and start our top coat chant in the chat. And if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and then you can join in our top coat chant in the chat. And that is just typing in top coat, top coat, top coat. And that's kind of how we seal our nails, and we seal, oops, had a little bit on the side there. We seal up our live stream. So again, I'm just top coating with our Ultimate Finish, and notice that I'm not actually getting that product all the way around that charm. So that's where our tile comes in. I'm going to take my micro detailer brush and a little bit of that top coat, and I'm going to use my brush. Actually, I think I'm going to grab my liner brush. I think I need a little bit of a larger brush for this one. So we're going to take a little bit of that top coat that I had on my tile. I'm going to use this to come right up around those edges of my charm, sealing in all the way through, all the way around the sides, tucking up around those edges, all the way through. So this way we're going to have top coat everywhere we want it, everywhere on that nail, all the way through. And even that little bit of extra top coat around the base of our charm is going to really help to hold that charm onto the nail. Okay, this one I am going to hit that with our Touch Cure Light one more time, just to freeze that top coat into place, to make sure that, that our top coat isn't going to run. And you guys, all right, let me see more top coat chant in the chat. If you're new to our channel, like I said, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and then you can start our top coat chant in the chat and just type in top coat, top coat, top coat. Okay, so that is our first nail. We are going to give that a full cure in the UV LED light, but I'm going to put our top coat on the rest of these nails. And like I said, we're going to use our Ultimate Finish top coat on, I think we'll do our Ultimate Finish on our Sheer Pink 102, just that light pink. And then we'll also do this on our last ombre. Oh my goodness, Dragon Bridge, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate that so very much. Oh my goodness, you guys, what a great chat today. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for getting free education. I mean, who doesn't want free education, right? Okay, so on our last nail, let's go ahead and use our matte non-tack top coat. So both our matte top coat and our Ultimate Finish are non-tack top coats. So they do dry with a completely tack-free finish. So there's nothing that you're going to have to cleanse at the end, nothing that you have to wipe off. They are completely cured. And we are going to put these back into our light now for a full 60 seconds. We're going to cure that out all the way, and then I will show you our final look. But again, we've got that Ultimate Finish top coat. I love this one because it's so easy to use. It's quick. Again, 60 seconds in the light and it is going to cure all the way through. You're not going to have to wipe the tacky top or tacky surface off of that one. Same thing with our matte non-tack top coat. This one is going to dry to that matte look, but it's actually going to feel kind of velvety. So if you're somebody who likes texture and things like that, you're going to absolutely love this one. If you don't love texture, it's not so much texture where it's going to feel grainy or anything. It's just a very, very velvety kind of a feel to it. So an absolutely beautiful top coat there. And all right, you guys, I know I said I needed to cure that for a full 60 seconds, but I'm going to take that out and I'm going to show you the final look. It is cured out enough so that you can see. So you guys, let me know in the chat. Do you like the shiny top coat or do you like the matte top coat better? Let me know. Or do you just like the combination? All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our Breast Cancer Awareness Month design and our beautiful ombre and our charms. Enjoy the stream today. I had so much fun with you guys. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We will see you guys back next time. If you are interested in more classes, I almost forgot to tell you, we do have an acrylic class. It's an online Zoom class next week on the 20th. Make sure to check out our website, youngnails.com, for information on how to register for that class. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us, contact us, and we're happy to help. All right, you guys, thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you one more time to Dragon Bridge for your donation. We appreciate you very, very much.